Oh, he is here. Good evening and welcome to the Ferguson City Council meeting for August the 26th at 7:00 p.m. At this time, I call the meeting to order. Let us stand for a silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Pittman, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Noah. Here. Councilwoman Covington.
Here.
Councilman Cassoff.
Here.
Councilman Franklin.
Here.
Councilman Palmer.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here, a quorum is present. At this time,
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move public comment to after new business, but before miscellaneous.
we did discuss that about moving it. And we kind of determined that it would be good staying right where it is. So Councilman Palmer has a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second Lamika Covington.
Oh, you seconded?
Questions?
I'd like to hear the rationale for doing that. I haven't heard any discussion of this yet.
I think it'd be helpful for one to calm tempers. The purpose of these meetings is not to grandstand or to get into arguments or fighting. The purpose is to get the business of the city done. There's also been complaints in the past that it's hard for us to address people and address things that are going on. You know, we speak during the meeting after they've already done public comment. So oftentimes there's concerns from the residents due to the business of the meeting that they can't talk about until 2, 3, 4 weeks from now. So my thoughts are it will calm tempers, but also it allow people, the public, the right to speak after we've gone through the business of the meeting. And they can actually ask questions that are relevant to the things that have happened within the meeting today and not have to sit on those for 2 or 3 weeks.
Discussion.
I mean, the counterpoint to that, of course, is that if we have a second reading of something, then the public comment wouldn't be until after we voted on it,
Exactly.
which would defeat the purpose of their public comment. So I understand, I mean, it's unfortunate that people make their comment and walk out the door, but I have if we're gonna listen to public comment, if we have to have the public comment before we do the business,
That's right.
do we not?
Yeah.
I agree.
State law doesn't even require public comment.
True.
I take it, did we not look up in the charter and see that moving it around is not conducive?
I don't know if you looked in the charter to see that it was not conducive, but I can take a look real quick to see exactly where it is in the charter, because I know you all have moved it around before, so.
I don't think the charter prohibits it.
No, I don't, Ryan, would you take a quick look for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Because we did speak about moving it. City manager, I think you and I spoke about this, and one time we did move it to where Councilman Palmer suggested, and they still.
Yeah, so I know when Chuck Bloom was here, it was moved around quite a bit, and I believe that they found out that it was better to have it beforehand than after. But I don't know the rationale why that, but I do remember it being at the end, and then they moved it to the beginning.
Okay. Yes, Councilwoman
We need-
Noah.
You know, if people can't control themselves, then the mayor knows how to control the crowd. You know, we're asking that everyone does control themselves so that we can get through this meeting and handle city business. But public comment is city business because we're here for the city. So I just think we need to have the public comment. Everyone respect the 3 minutes, please, so we can move forward and have a productive meeting. Thank you.
Councilwoman Covington, then Councilman Franklin.
Okay, so my reason for agreeing is because some of these meetings go really, really long, and the people that make a comment, they leave before you can even address their comments. Since I've been on here, I mean, I didn't hit my bedtime a couple of times, and it's some older people. So that was my reason for agreeing. That way it's fresh also in our heads. And if somebody is addressing something to us, that we can go ahead and right afterwards talk about, instead of waiting till the 2-3 hours after we debate over other things. So that was my reason for agreeing.
Councilman Franklin.
I would just ask the council, when you have these type of ideas that you share with the group, this is the first I'm hearing of this, and so I have to question the motive, because if it's a good idea, no one mentioned it to me, and so kind of reminds me of when you tried to cut funding and reallocate it elsewhere at the end of a budget meeting. So like, just be transparent with your ideas. If it's a good idea, I'll support it, but as it stands now, I'm blindsided, so I have to question the intent.
Councilman Kassoff.
There's no reason to question anybody's motive here. He didn't tell me about it either, okay? And we're supposed to be the Bobbsey twins up here, right? I didn't know about this either. I think it's worth council having a conversation about this. But I feel like we need to have a more extensive conversation than we're gonna be able to have this evening. Councilor Palmer, would you object to tabling this and discussing it between now and the next meeting?
City Manager Hampton, is there any business on tonight's agenda that is essential that be completed?
You only had 2 second readings.
We need to do the ordinance readings the first and then the second
Okay.
ordinance.
Okay,
But we're not gonna act the fool tonight.
no, they're not. I hope
So-
not, for their sake. City clerk.
You
and
have to-
attorney.
You have the second reading of bill number 7315.
Okay,
For financial disclosure.
okay,
We actually have to get that into the Missouri Ethics Commission prior to September 15th. So that's
Okay.
the one thing that is on the bill.
We'll get it done.
we'll get it done. Okay,
Mayor, I have one other thing, Mayor. We do have a presentation tonight, from Kurt Jerkins, from St. Louis County that we'll have to get through as well, because that does reflect on all the first readings.
and we have the prosecuting attorney Roberts here
Correct.
to make observations, so,
Yeah, so if we have any questions on
Good.
Bill 7314,
Okay.
prosecuting is here tonight.
Ryan, did you find anything in?
Yes, Mayor, in the code of ordinances, chapter 2, dash 28 of parliamentary procedure. Subsection B, it says the order of business of the council should be as follows. All meeting order will call, and then petitions, remarks, complaints or requests, a hearing of any person or group desiring to address the council.
Okay, that's public comments, so that's what the charter states. You heard what the charter states, are you ready to vote? I take the call the roll, please.
Aye.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
No.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
What's the point of having the charter?
I'm just looking at the ordinance to see if we can even do this.
I don't think we can.
So, according to 2-28, as the attorney pointed out, the third item of business prior to public hearings, consent agenda and so on, and reading of bills, the third order of business must be public comment according to our ordinance. So I'm gonna say nay on changing it this evening because I believe it's unlawful. But I'm willing to have a conversation. It is within our right to amend section 2. That's not part of the charter. That's merely an ordinance. So if we want to amend the ordinance to allow flexibility in the future, I'm willing to have that discussion. But I'm gonna vote nay on making a change that I believe is unlawful this evening.
Finish, Rob?
No.
No.
Councilman Franklin.
No.
We will move as proceeded with public comments. Councilman Williams, you asked for the floor.
All right, so I've apologized several times, but a lot of you guys were not in the special session. So I want to, for my gesture, I want to apologize to the people who support me, the people who voted for me, city staff, the council, and the city as a whole, because that can be perceived as an embarrassment to the city and the people who live here. That's pretty much it. I just want to apologize, but I want to let people know who probably don't come to the council meetings a lot. This has been going on for months. This is not a one-time incident that happened. And, I just lost my cool. But, the Bible says he without sin cast the first stone. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Williams, and I do accept your apology. Anyone else? Let's move on. The next item on the agenda is public comments. Octavia has a timer there. You get 3 minutes. When the timer go off, you are to stop speaking and return to your seat. If you continue to speak, I will call a point of order, and a point of order is for conduct and language. We can look it up in Robert Rules of Orders if you need it. I will sound the gavel. If you persist, I will instruct the city manager. to instruct the chief of police to have you move from this chambers per ordinance. We got it? I will repeat it. You got 3 minutes. When the timer go off, you are to stop speaking and return to your seat. If you persist on talking, I will call a point of order and sign and hit the gavel. If you still persist, I will ask the city manager to get the police department to escort you out per the decorum order of the city. Octavia, who do we have as number one?
First, we have Henry Iwinafu.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Henry Wonderful. Good evening to the citizens, the elected officials, the city officials, city attorney. I came in here today with a sense of humor, but some of the stuff was already solved before. The mayor and the council were very eloquent in making it clear that they are not interested in restricting our First Amendment right. And it's the sense of humor is that our system of government was created in a way that it requires noise. It came from England, and we borrowed it from England. If you watch the English Parliament, you see them yelling at the Prime Minister, the opposition party yelling at the Prime Minister. I've been an elected official, and I'm also an educator. So I came in here with something Madison wrote. And Madison wrote this in 1791. And he borrowed it from the Magna Carta, which was published in 1215. And the English Bill of Rights was created in 1689. That was after the common people killed the king. People don't know about, how you have the House of Commons, because the English law is what we inherited. People have a right to speak to the elected official. And the First Amendment talks about it. It says the First Amendment ensures that individual can express their opinion and ideas without government control or censor. People shouldn't come over here and call your mother's name or say anything to you that is offensive. But they may have all of us don't have the same level of education, same savvy, but they can express their concerns to the elected officials. The mayor says something that was correct. When she says stop, you need to stop. And she can remove that particular individual. But to create a rule, because I saw something earlier, I don't know, I'm glad you guys, and I'm moving on, where you can punish somebody, remove them, they cannot come here again. We have to think about our laws. We have a constitution. And we also have, the attorney can tell you what a supremacy clause is. The Constitution supersedes the laws that you make here. So you cannot take our freedom. David should not be harassed every day, or neither should David say something offensive to somebody. Your right ends where mine begins. So what I'm saying to them, I'm happy with what I saw with the council, addressing the issue the way it's supposed to be, work together. But at the same time, we should respect the concerns of our citizens. Thank you for the time. I think my time is almost over. The other question I have is
point of order.
Okay.
Larry Robinette.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
I'd like to address what I believe to be the problem stemming from the out of order on July the 22nd. So Mayor, I want you to know I heard what you just said. My opinion, 5.5 years is a bit late to start enforcing the rule. Some of the people sitting behind me have been allowed to repeatedly go significantly over their 3 minutes, to abuse the people sitting up here on this dais multiple times, to speak out of turn and out of order with no consequences other than a tap of the gavel for 5.5 years. This should have been enforced a long time ago. Councilman Williams isn't the first one to be put in that position and have an altercation with a resident that was out of line. There have been other council people that have suffered the same consequences. My question is, are you going to stand behind what you said today? Because I think Mayor Jones, the responsibility lies with you to govern this meeting and run it respectfully and make sure that you use your powers to remove people when they don't follow the tap of the gavel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adrian Shropshire.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, citizens. Hello, council. I want to talk about my planning and zoning meeting that I chair. It was very emotional for me. Mr. Cordell Beach is the grandfather of the children that were lost their lives in the fire here in Ferguson, and their mother. I know everybody has mixed opinions on that, but to hear a grandfather talk about losing his 4 grandkids, it really made me think as a grandfather, a parent, and a city chairperson of planning and zoning. We didn't really know, we thought it was a community garden. But to my embarrassment, it was a flower garden and a memorial on that property, which has been okayed by the owner. She's not going to build another house on that property. And it was really tough to hear him talk about his loss and the emotional scars that he is carrying. It really affected me because I've been thinking about it now for the last week or so since we had our meeting. I'm asking the council to give him or give the lady that owns the property line adjustments so he can make that a memorial for his family and for us citizens to come and just sit and reflect about what happened that day. There's not going to be a house built on the land. There's not going to be anything done. The property owner is going to keep the garage for a car. So I'm just asking you to be considerate and pass the special building line adjustment. And moving on, I want to say to Miss Octavia, we're going to miss you. I'm going to miss you because we worked hand in hand with the Juneteenth for the last few years. And I'd like for you to come up. I have a special presentation for you. Please.
Is that okay, ma'am?
It's okay.
I want to award you with one of my cactuses. I'm a hobbyist. And a lot of citizens have seen them on Facebook. I put a lot on there. And I want you to have this in my appreciation of what you've done for the city. Thank you.
Next, we have Laverne Mitchum.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Councilman Franklin, I want to thank you. I was one of your constituents who talked to you about the July 22nd. I had family call me and was worried whether I was here and worried if I could get hurt. I had family and friends who asked, what is wrong with Ferguson? What's going on? I agree with everything you have said tonight as far as amending and the ordinance, keeping our police from being put in a position that we don't want them in, like what happened in St. Louis. I agree with you 100%, and I appreciate you. I want you to know that. I have come before this council several times and said, you all are held to a higher standard. I have said that. I don't say it to insult you. I don't say it to fight with you. I say it because it's the truth. I have worked as a counselor in the desegregation program for 40 years. And most of you know we had St. Louis City students transferred to the county. We used to have bus drivers would get mad at kids who were being disrespectful, who were doing wrong, but there was a policy set up to handle when kids were doing wrong. But some of the bus drivers would cuss the kids out. They ain't got no home training. Their mamas ain't taught them nothing. That would make the kid get even angrier. And it would escalate. We had to tell the bus drivers, you're an adult. You're held to a higher standard. You can't get on the level of the child and start cursing the child out because he cursed you out. You go into the principal, you take the write-up and say this child did such and such. The principal will call the parent and have a serious discussion that they may lose their right to ride the bus if they continue misbehaving. I've said to you all, in my career, I've had people say some horrible things. I knew they were wrong, but I had to maintain my professionalism to do my job. And Councilman Palmer, what you suggested tonight, and this is just me, I don't know if it's anybody else, it sounded like you wanted a way to control us. Put the public, we wait for these meetings to come and express our concerns about this city and about us. We wait to come here and express our concerns. And I
Miss
think that's-
Mitchell, your
Thank
time
you.
is up.
Thank you.
Mildred Klein.
Good evening, Mildred Klein, 7444 Castro Drive. So, thank you. I'm offended already because Councilman Palmer said we're grandstanding. And this is the time that the citizens, where we can use our voice our concerns, voice our disdain, whatever, our freedom of speech. And for you to say we're grandstanding, you still don't get it. Now we have, if you look at the ordinance, we actually supposed to have 5 minutes to speak, but there was a compromise. At one point, they took us down to 2, then there was a compromise where they're allowing us 3 minutes. But let me just say this, there have been council people, you want respect, you got to give us respect. I don't care if you're up there, if you're on social media, criticizing, spewing vitriol about the citizen, giving misinformation, putting it out there like that. So we have no respect for that. And I would still say that there's a lot of racism going on. And when I see it, I'm going to call it out. You won't be able to silence me. I'm going to use my voice. If I'm going to get arrested, so be it. But I will call it out loud and clear. And there's a lot of racism going on in this community, and we're going to call it out. So you can do what you want to do. But if you respect us and listen to us, because we come to you, we express what we want or what we need in this community, and you act like you don't hear us. So if you don't hear us, we're going to scream it to the rooftop, and sometimes that might have to disrupt your meetings, and then the council tonight talking about supporters. I'm not going to stand with anybody who's making decisions that are racist. I'm not going to stand with you. I would never stand with you. I'm going to call you out every time. So like you said, if you don't, it's a lot of people that don't like me either. And I'm okay with that as well. So I'm not trying to make enemies. I'm just trying to get you all to listen to the community, and you feel like it's just a few of us. There's a lot of us in the community that feel like there are a lot of injustices and a lot of things decisions that you all make that are not in the best interest of our community. A lot of lies been told, like I said, a lot of things going on where people are lying about where they live and all those kind of things. So I have, it's hard for me to have a lot of respect for people who don't even follow what the law that you all have in place right now. So thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Klein.
Fran Griffin.
Good evening, you all. It was a lot that I heard that was correct, and it was a lot of things that I heard that were incorrect. I just have a question. Does my there's one thing that I actually agree with David on, is we do have a constitutional right of freedom of speech. And boy, does that mean something. What I also know is Jamil was right. The council does have laws. They have ordinances in place to deter how they speak, what they do that's inappropriate in order to hold them accountable. So if the city of Ferguson council is gonna have laws in place that they choose not to follow when they clearly know that it's there, then that means we can just welcome each other like that anytime, and that should be acceptable. But it's not. It's really not. Morally, it's not. Let me go further. It has nothing to do about whether I like you or not. I wasn't one of your supporters. I don't live in your ward, but I've never disrespected you as a Black man, as a human being, period. And so your apology didn't include me. And I felt offended by that, because these are people that have been fighting on behalf of people that look like you, that look like your son, that look like your son, that look like your son, that look like your daughter, that look like your daughters for a very, very long time to even get you to a point where you're sitting in that seat. I want to thank you for coming to the NPSC. Next time, I don't want to hear that you're gonna listen to Pat. I'd rather hear that you will take our institutional knowledge from the people that have been sitting in these seats, trying to work to make change on policy, versus listening to someone who hasn't even been here as long as these folks have been here working on this stuff. Respect does go both ways. It absolutely does. I take disrespect when I try to talk to my sister, Mika, and I see Nick sitting up here laughing. That's a form of disrespect. It's based off of perception. And if you want to deal with policy, then there's a gray space there. Let's clean that up. If I can't turn around and ad-lib when I hear something wrong, and I'm ad-libbing to the people, letting the folks know what's wrong, you're right, the mayor does have responsibility. When the mayor hears some stuff that's incorrect, the mayor's responsibility is to speak it out during miscellaneous subsection. It hasn't always been us. And you were on this side as well. You should know more than anybody. Nobody gets to put their hands on my person unless I'm a threat. So asking somebody to come in and put their hands on some elders when there was a one-on-one confrontation between a citizen and a council person. I talked to the police chief, and this coming from an activist. I asked him, I said, what would be your proposal on how to effectively address this? Because, I've been sitting watching processes, protocols, and statistics and strategy for years. You should follow it. That'll be the most effective.
Wendell Phillips. Phil Berwick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Mrs. Mayor. Thank you, Council. My name is Wendell Phillips Berwick. I was named after the abolitionist Wendell Phillips. You can call me Phil. I really appreciate the opportunity in our democracy to speak our piece. The second speaker, before I speak my piece, I just want to I think the city should give a commendation to the second speaker, Larry Robinette. Mr. Robinette acquired a $6 million grant for the citizens of Ferguson to be able to only pay a small portion to have hazardous trees removed from their yard. he deserves the keys to the city, I think. Ironically, that $6 million is what, and more than that, is what we, the city of Ferguson, has coughed up to a past administration, acquiescing to the consent decree. I have found that many citizens of Ferguson still don't know what the consent decree is. I assume everyone in here knows. I wish I could turn around and address the ones in back of me, but I know that's not legal, allowed, and for good reason. So you can listen to the back of my head. Through high pressure from the administration of President Obama and Department of Justice, because of what happened regarding Michael Brown and the style of past overreach and profile policing, the city of Ferguson agreed to being fined for right around $450,000 a year and agreed to the police force going through community police training. The police training was a good thing, but almost immediately the force had begun an immediate about face on their own. The second part of the decree, the heavy fines have not helped our city. They have hurt our city, hampered our cops from doing their job for years. The consent decree was not meant to better ourselves. It was to make an example of us. I'll go so far as to say to shame us. And $6 to $7 million later, it's to extort us. I've submitted a request through the Sunshine Act to discover where that money went. We made a few people wealthy. It should have gone to our schools. Our teachers have suffered. The public works, our police have been hogtied all these years. I can't understand why residents want to continue being punished. Maybe they aren't all residents who come here and speak their piece who want us to continue being punished. Maybe they were like the white wealthy woman who left her $700,000 home in Chesterfield to come here and threaten you, Mayor, and the rest of the council that if you end this, she can bring hundreds of people here. I don't think she gave half a heart for Michael Brown. I don't think she had any heart for Officer Travis Brown. She was there that day. Thank you.
Erica Brooks.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to first of all say that half-hearted, address, it wasn't even an apology, because I was the one you gave a finger to. It wasn't all the other people that you were talking about. And for the people that don't understand why this disrespect has happened for a whole year, not just that night when he decided to put his finger up. When he told me as a council person, I was just trying to ask a question like everybody else is saying about being able to just talk to you and ask a question about a bill 7282. And he told me I wasn't talking about shit. That's when the disrespect started. So not only that, when the former council person, Linda Lipker, ran up in my face trying to tell me that she was not supported, she didn't get you in office, but right before she left her, she bragged about how she was your campaign manager. But she ran up on me and attacked me physically up in my face, telling me I didn't get him in office. But all this Larry Robert can say is that people like me have been disrespectful to council people for 5 years, but it's other people like Tony Burrow that was sitting in that seat that was recalled by Nick Kassoff. And I signed his petition, not just because it was Tony Burrow, because she was not speaking up for me as a person in her ward. So when it comes to talking about saving our bus route, Tony Burrow did not care about our bus route. So when it comes to you living where you live at, maybe her nephew's house or whatever, people cherry picking you to be where you at, those people like you, like talking about the consent decree, we shouldn't have to sit here and be babysitted by overseers, by the Department of Justice. But that's what you all have brought us to that point. So when we have people like you sitting in that seat, taking advantage of the opportunity to be that Black person, supposedly speaking up for your supporters, but not understanding the content and the character of the consent decree, it's all for nothing. To disrespect me as a Black woman is outrageous, because all I do, I come in here and I ask questions. I go to you all to ask questions and we never get answers. Yes, we speak out of turn because we never get answers. We get, demeaning attitudes like yours. It don't make no sense. All we do is come here and stand up for our city as citizens. Not come here to harass anybody, because I haven't harassed you at all, because like I said, from the point when you told me I wasn't talking about shit, this ass right here should have been making some ordinances for you telling me that. I've never gotten an apology for that. I've never gotten an apology for Linda Lipka running up in my face as a council person. You know, and nobody arresting her for running up on me. But everybody in this audience can get on Facebook and talk about how I'm out of order, I'm out of line. But the thing to me is, when are you all gonna get yourselves in line and make ordinances for y'all behavior? And get escorted out here just like you're talking about us?
Ms. Brooks.
Thank you, bye, thank you. Thank you.
Last, we have Becca Bryan.
Rebecca Bryan, my address is 516 Gerald Place. I want to speak to the consent decree. The consent decree didn't just happen to Ferguson out of nowhere. It came because of what Ferguson did, what it allowed, ignored, and defended for years. The DOJ didn't want to intervene. It was forced to because Ferguson gave it no other choice. This wasn't some misunderstanding. It was a pattern of abuse and corruption that had built up over decades. And now people are asking, why are we still paying for this? Haven't we done enough? But here's the truth. Ferguson lost the right to decide when it was done. The right disappeared because traffic stops became profit machines, when blackness became a crime, and when injustice became the norm. Ferguson doesn't get to declare the work complete just because it's getting uncomfortable or expensive. That's not how accountability works. The consent decree isn't overreach. It's structure. It's oversight. It's the bare minimum to rebuild trust. It's here because Ferguson proved it couldn't be trusted to fix itself. And now the moment it gets hard, the moment it starts to hurt financially, we start complaining that it's unfair. That's not financial responsibility. That's moral retreat. Ferguson didn't go broke from the consent decree. It went broke defending injustice. The process is uncomfortable because it's working. And that's what real repair looks like. It takes time, it takes money, and it's supposed to hurt. Walking away now says the pain doesn't matter, that the damage is too inconvenient to keep fixing. And that's exactly how Ferguson got here in the first place. This decree is the receipt. It's the cost of what Ferguson did. And if this city wants to talk about integrity, if it actually wants to move forward, then the only way out is through, not turning around.
Public comments have ended. We move to the manager's report. City Manager Hampton, do you
Yeah.
have a report for tonight?
Yes, I do, Mayor. Always good to be in front of everyone. At first, I'm gonna bring up Chief Doyle for his update on police department.
Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Here to provide the report for the police department. Before I do so, I want to echo Mr. Shropshire's comment. Thank you to your service to our community, this city. Hasn't gone unnoticed, and good luck in your future endeavors. Council, as always, I'm going to give you an update on staffing, talk about both part 1, part 2 crimes. I'm going to give you a couple case updates, talk about some traffic enforcement and some recent community engagement events. As it relates to staffing, actually that should be 85%, not 92% staff. Should be 85% staffing. We were at 92%. However, since our last council meeting, we did lose 2 officers, and one was for disciplinary reasons, and the other one couldn't complete the probationary period for the police department. The reason that's important for you all to know is that FPD is not in a position that we're just hiring anybody now. You got to be able to understand the culture that's going on in this police department. You got to be able to fit in, and if you can't, then you can't be an FPD officer. That being said, as you can see, we still have 6 open corporal positions. And again, we haven't filled that yet because we still have police officers that are on probation. But those corporal positions would come from those positions. HR currently has the corporal exams in their possession right now. So we're in the process of trying to coordinate a date that will work with everyone to have this test. The other spot that you see open up there is the assistant chief position. Again, and that's intentional, to be honest with you. I haven't appointed assistant chief yet or found an assistant chief because I haven't found anyone that I think would blend in, that I believe would blend in with our city. It's not that no one has been interested. There's been several people that's been interested in the position, but I see that position as whenever I do leave, there's someone who can step in and carry out the I guess the moral fabric of our city. Someone is going to believe in, reform, that's going to believe in holding officers accountable, but also believe in enforcing the law here in our community. So as of this date, that individual has not been found yet, but when they do, I'll definitely let you know. As it relates, slide's a little different from what I have. As it relates to Part 1 crime, it shows that we're down 10%. We're actually down 7%. The biggest thing that you recognize up there is we had a couple more.
That's old slides. It's
Yeah,
been
this is-
yeah.
Presentation.
Yeah.
June and July.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, disregard this, yeah. Okay, all right. All right, sure. I'm sorry, I apologize. There you go.
85%.
85%. There we go. In the right one. So there we go. Part 1 crime. So we're down 7% as far as total Part 1 crimes. As you see, we had one more burglary this month. I'm sorry, in July than we did in June, and 4 more larcenies than we had in June. As it relates to Part 2 crimes, again, we're down total 4% compared to the previous month. And as you can see, the large percentage changes up there as it shows 200%, 100%, 200%. But if you pay attention, we talk about small incremental numbers. We talk about 1 compared to 3, and like I said, 1 compared to 3. So the percentages look large, but we're just talking about a difference between a couple of different numbers there. While domestic violence shows that it's down in July compared to June, however, we still have that continues to be an issue here in the city of Ferguson. Our officers respond to a number of domestic violence calls in our community. We do have domestic violence month coming up in October. FPD is in the planning stages of trying to do something that month, whether it's a community conversation. We're not sure what that's going to look like, but we do need to, that's an issue that needs to be addressed and talked about in our communities. Did have a couple notable arrests since our last meeting. We had an individual, our officers got a call for stabbing at 510 Airport Road, which is the Emo's Pizza. The long, short end of the story is that one of the employees there stabbed a unhoused individual. The unhoused individual actually was not being a cooperative victim initially. But due to Officer Woodard's strong determination to try to get to the bottom of the issue, it was later discovered that the employee at the Emo stabbed this individual. This individual is going to survive his injuries. However, the employee was arrested for first degree on criminal action and tampering with physical evidence, and he's currently incarcerated the county intake at $100,000 cash only bond. Also had another incident. We got a call for a flourishing in progress. 1000 block of South Florissant Road, basically at the BP station. As the officer was arriving, the individuals abandoned the vehicle and took off running. However, in plain sight, in plain view, the officer noticed a felony amount of marijuana laying on the seat, along with weapons that was there. Again, those individuals have not been located, and they abandoned the car, they abandoned the guns, they abandoned the drugs, and as of this day, no one has come to claim it yet. The other one I want to update you on is we did have a domestic assault first degree, 9600 block of Abaco. In this particular case, individual shot his child's mother in the stomach. Again, she survived this case. However, within 20 minutes, we were able to locate this suspect along with seizing the weapon that was involved. And this individual was charged with domestic assault first degree, physical injury, felony, and armed criminal action. And he's currently being held at the county jail on a $250,000 cash only bond. Traffic warnings and citations year to date. As you all know, traffic safety is a high priority for us here in the city and for FPD. Total engagements was 2,934. 1,200 of those warnings, which made up about 41% of the total engagement, and 1,734 citations were written, which made up 59% of those engagements. And here's the year-to-date chart that would give you a picture of what's going on. Again, warnings were up 119%, 548 compared to 1,200. Citations were up 46%, 1188 compared to 1734. And total traffic stops were up 69% to 1736 compared to 2924. And the thing that really stand out more for me, and it should stand out for the city, is that we're over 119% in regards to warnings. So that means that not only are we enforcing the law too, but we're also trying to educate our public too on the traffic laws in our city. Failure yields, we're down 16% for the year, and those are the vehicles that fail to stop for law enforcement. As it relates to community engagement, since our last meet, we had the Bases and Badges event, the Ferguson Police Department against the Berkeley Police Department. Some of the proceeds from that was given to the Travis Brown family. I want to thank the mayor and the council members who showed up to that event, and all our community people who showed up for that event. It was a great turnout. The officers appreciate it. It's a good support. These are things that our community need more of. We also held an open house at the FPD. And again, it's just my idea of just opening up the police department for the community, you know. People pay taxes to the city. They should have an opportunity to see what their police department do. We had, it was a good turnout. We did some drone demonstrations. We showed off the range. We let some people shoot some tasers. Let them see the inner workings of the police vehicles. And again, there's a lot of people that showed up. It was a great time. We gave out a number of great prizes, which I'll talk about here shortly. We also attended the Old Ferguson East block party. Again, super turnout at that event. Everyone was friendly, food was good. Everyone seemed like they had a pretty good time. We also had Walk Ferguson. We partnered, so we started the walk and talk program, but we partner with the Walk Ferguson group. Thank you, Councilman Franklin, for coming out to that. But it was a good event. We walked from the farmers market down up there to the farm. I learned a lot of things during that walk. It's good. It was a good time. Again, it was an event that the community enjoyed and everybody got along. One of the other things that we're starting to do now too is that when we start getting a number of complaints on a particular street or in a particular neighborhood, we're starting to do roll calls out in the street. So essentially what we're doing is taking our roll calls from the police station to those particular neighborhoods. And the reason that's important because not only do we want the residents or the community to know that we're hearing their concerns, but we also want the people that are not complying with the law, that's disrupting our community. We also want them to feel our presence out there in the community also. So that's the purpose of these neighborhood roll calls. Another event we got coming up on September the 27th at FPD from 12 p.m. to 3:00 p.m. in partnership with the Neighborhood Policing Steering Committee. We're going to have our National Night Out kickoff event where we're inviting all the neighborhood associations to this event. We're going to try to get everyone signed up for National Night Out. It'd be an opportunity for each neighborhood to, again, show what community looks like in regards to a partnership. And that night, on October the 7th, which is on a Tuesday, we will actually have the Night Out event. And the PD is planning on visiting all the National Night Out participants or neighborhoods that are going to be participating in that. So last year was a great turnout. We look forward to even a bigger turnout this year. Officer Travis Brown update. As you all know, if you've seen the news over the last 3 or 4 weeks ago, they showed a video of Travis doing some rehab work at the facility in Nebraska. I just spoke with Mom yesterday and she's in good spirits. Everything is moving forward with him. As you can remember, Travis was in a coma for 2 months, when this all happened. For him to be where he's at today, as far as doing rehab work, is a miracle in of itself. So. This time, I like to call Ms. Laura Starr up here. Okay. You got that. Right, yeah. So in the PD, we started what we call a Chief Community Partnership Award. And essentially these awards go to not only individuals, but businesses that really, partner with the police department to do good things for the community. This year, or the first one that we're actually giving out to Ms. Laura Starr, manager of our Super Walmart on West Florissant. I'm going to read this here shortly because it's important for people to know, but this doesn't do justice of what you do for the police department. Every event that we have in the community, when you see water donated, snacks, door prizes, 99.9% of it come from Ms. Starr at the Walmart. So again, we appreciate your partnership with us and what you do for our community. It means a whole lot to us. Thank you.
Thank
But
you.
I do want to read this out there. So Laura Starr, manager at the Super Walmart at store number 1265. Team is grateful and appreciation for your demonstrated commitment to the Ferguson Police Department and our community engagement efforts. Through your partnership, you have strengthened the bonds between the community, the department, and set an example of true service and collaborations. With great gratitude and appreciation, we thank you.
Okay. We can do it on that thing behind me, so thanks to all of them as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. God.
Of course.
Mayor's gonna come too.
Let's get it real quick.
Come on and take a picture with Laura.
Treasure.
Yes.
I'm trying to hide. Got it, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Council, I'll open it up for any questions or comments you have at this time.
I'm glad you've been selective on the assistant chief, but you're doing such a great job. It's gonna be some big shoes to fill. So, but I do hope you do find somebody. But I'm glad you're being selective because the culture that you have installed on the police department is excellent. And You know, like I said, when I was in Atlanta, North Carolina, I got profiled a lot. I don't feel that Ferguson. I feel like the officers would give me a fair shot. And I think that's because of your leadership. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Councilman Franklin?
So I had a question about property damage crime. Seems like that's our largest line item. What does that entail?
That could be anything from lawn jobs to bricks going through windows. I mean, it could be a number of different, a host of different things. Essentially, it's property damage, you know.
Okay, I just wondered, was it like more random than?
Yeah, it's more random than
Okay.
anything. It's not like you got one person that's purposely going out doing different things. It's just, I mean, you can have a simple domestic that can turn into a property damage where somebody destroys somebody's property just because.
Councilwoman Noah?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say thank you for the roll call meetups at the different locations, because I think that does make a difference. Residents call and they, you know, especially the one over there, off of Halpin. That was good. We need more of that because it's hot over there. Haley and Woodstock as well, just a suggestion. But thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
I have a few more things, Mayor, to bring up. My manager's report. We are gonna have our dangerous building hearing, towards the end of September. We're also doing a business license hearing. We still have some businesses that have not paid their business license. That hearing will also be towards the end of September. We've been having our nuisance hearings every Wednesday. And we've been getting our administrative warrants signed by our judges through the prosecutor. So we are making a turn to get some of our neighborhoods back in order. The other thing I have is I know Mr. Sharpshire brought up the garden. I also reached out to the person that came to the planning and zoning and asked them to reach out to the other two family members that did lose their child. And I don't know if that has happened, but I wish before he comes to council that that does happen because I do know some of the wishes of the family. And I'm not sure they're all in 100% agreement. So I wish they could get together before they bring it to council. The other thing is the fire department did participate in the softball game as well. I had a very crucial hit. Start the rally. Just want everybody to know that. And we will participate in National Night Out as well. Now, I know we've been having some discussion on daycares and how many daycares can be in a ward. I know we've had discussions on some of the EDST things that have been brought up. We also have had some discussion on bylaws and I would like to see if maybe we could do a work session on all these and try to work it out and then bring it to, and then we can all vote, you know, but let's have that work session on all these property, on all these issues. And we can also talk about the properties that we do have and how we're going to try to get infield housing as well. And I think that's one of the big things now, right? We're making the strides in the neighborhoods to clean them up, but now let's get houses built back on those vacant lots that we have, that we own, and that are abandoned by the landlords. So, but that's all I have. I would love to answer any questions.
Councilman Palmer?
In regards to the North Clay, is it a boundary adjustment and rezoning they're going for?
Just boundary. But the question is, the really thing is, some of the family members are not 100% on board and they lost their child. So I don't know. That's why I said, please reach out and try to work it out before we bring it and just do it. And I know personally myself, I put every kid in a potty bag. And so I can understand where the family's coming from as well.
If the intention is to do a boundary adjustment but never develop either of the lots, why is a boundary adjustment required? Do we have an ordinance that restricts the planting of flowers and trees?
So I believe they were trying to make it so the house does not come on and keep the shed and garage. Is that correct?
It's my understanding that they're actually going to award the separate property to the person applying for the boundary adjustments. So the lots would be split. The current owner would own where the garage and shed is. The person applying for the adjustment would own the other half outright.
So it'd be splitting the properties.
From my experience with the municipal code and zoning, it is actually a violation of municipal ordinance to have a lot with only an accessory structure. Is that correct?
I couldn't hear what you said, the last part.
I'm pretty sure we have an ordinance against having a lot with only an accessory structure. I believe you have to have a main dwelling prior to having an accessory
Yeah,
structure.
unless it's commercial property, I believe you're correct.
That'd
but
be
that's
something worth
we
looking
will look
into, something worth looking into.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Noah.
Yeah. No, it's a dangerous building hearing. Yes, ma'am. So the buildings that we feel that are structurally unsound that need to be demoed and or a dangerous building where landlord and or the owner of the property could fix it up, they're being called into a hearing to answer further neglect.
And you're gonna post that on the city's website?
Yes, ma'am. And will be posted. I believe we have to also post it in the yards as well, of the property. And I think that we're working right now to get to the signs. So it may be the same day. I know we were trying to do it the same day. I don't know where we settled that, but Zia is working on, no, not Zia. Autumn is working with Nodrick on that portion. Zia is working with the dangerous buildings.
It's two separate hearings, but it will be the same.
Yeah, two separate hearings, but the same day.
The council to have a workshop for the EDST allocations?
No, it's a EDST. There is programs that Rachel brought up, such as the emergency fund, the housing, and I think it was something with education, and there was one other one. I know there was some interest from council and others about looking at least two of those things, such as the emergency fund and the housing. And I wasn't real sure if there was interest in the college fund, which I really did not see it as an advantage for EDST, and I don't know if that should be really used from that fund. But we can look into that more, and that's why I would love to have the work session on that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I won't bring that up to you because I was gonna bring that up to as new business if I can wait. Last week, the speed humps on Meadowlands, will Meadowcrest receive speed humps?
Yeah, so right now, there's a couple of streets that we've done, that we've remilled, I'm sorry. But the company that put our original speed humps in owe us a few, speed humps, and we're working with them. Corey's working with them right now to try to get them back out here and get the ones that we were owed. So, that's what we did.
So Meadowcrest will.
Well,
We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Corey has a list and I can make sure, but I know like Thurman has it. And I know I'm going to Chesky Park and that'll be one of the biggest things they'll ask me. And then, but I believe Meadowcrest is on there as well if it was just redone.
I mean, it was, and I'm just asking because
Yeah,
the
no,
residents
it's
at the
cool.
Forestwood meeting, they asked and, and
Yes, ma'am.
Meadowcrest runs from Forestwood to, what is that
Highmont?
street?
Highmont?
That you- Well, Highmont, yeah, and then Edgehill is right there.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
because I know that you had said that Ellison wouldn't qualify.
Yeah, Ellison's not gonna qualify because it's only really people that live on that street and it's a dead end because of Jennings.
Okay, but Meadowcrest should.
Meadowcrest is a cut through street.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Cassoff.
At one point, we had said that we were going to include speed humps in the contracts for streets that were being repaved. Did that happen on any of the streets?
Well, we knew that we had some, yes, it did. If you go down Ruggles, I think it's Ruggles that did, or Weigel, they have theirs. There's other streets that did happen, yes, sir.
But that wasn't in the contract for Thurman.
No, not that one, because we know we had speed humps coming. And so I only have so much money and we know we had money coming in from that. So, or not money coming in, but we knew we had that expense that was already paid for it, and then, so that's why we held off.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
That is all I have, but I do have one thing I would like to clean up per section, the next section, special presentation. Apparently Kurt Jerkins is not able to make it on a Zoom and or in person tonight. However, if we could do the first reading, I will have him here for the second reading to make sure that he can answer all this stuff for everyone. This is very common. Apparently St. Louis County is doing this, all these actions. So I can have him here for the next meeting, or when, and or if the second reading, I can have him at that meeting as well.
and that's bill number 73, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Councilman Palmer.
I'd prefer we not do the first reading if the person isn't here. The public, they have a right to hear what's going on. We can't just vote on it next time with everybody in this whole room not hearing what's going on.
So.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's where I get confused, because sometimes we hear that we don't say anything for first reading, then we talk about second reading. And that's why I said, let's do the second reading. So I didn't know if we do have those discussions on the first reading, because sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, and that's why I suggested.
Traditionally, we usually don't discuss on the first meeting. And because the second reading has a first and a second, and then a discussion. So if you all want to delay this, then put the motion on the floor. So when Mr. Kirk will be here.
Yeah, we can't promise he's gonna be here, because we thought he was gonna be here tonight, right? But we know that we would hold off on that second reading until he does come.
But we can have the first reading.
And then.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Councilman Kassoff.
I move that we table bills 73, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And that we take up the first reading when the representative from the county is available to present the information.
Second.
Is there a second? It has been properly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, we don't, okay, I guess we don't need discussion.
Bill number 7316
Through 19.
through 19.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We have one nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we move to public hearing. We don't have any. We move to the consent agenda. We have city council meeting minutes, the regular meeting minutes for June the 10th, June the 24th, and July the 22nd. I request a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second, Lamika Covington.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We have boards and commission meeting minutes. We have the Civilian Review Board for July the 7th. We have the Special Business District for May the 28th, and Traffic Commission on June the 17th. I request a motion and a second that the boards and commission meeting minutes be filed with the council.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We move to appointments. At this time, we have an appointment for North County Festival Square for the Community Improvement District. At this time, it was Rachel St. Pierre was on the board. And right now, we would like to appoint Dave Musgrave to take that position on the board. Is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second, Lamika Covington. Oh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Dave Musgrave will be on the North County Festival Square Community.
I don't want you to exclude the other appointments as well. So you actually need to do all of it.
I'm going down the line.
No, there was more than one appointment for this particular.
Other than Dave Musgrave?
Yes, so you're appointing James Otis, second, James L. Otis, and Dave.
I don't have, Let me find the letter. Oh, here it is. Okay. Dave Musgrave is one. For reappointment is James J. Otis II. Is there a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second, Lamika Covington.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The second appointment is James L. Otis to the North County Festival Square Community Improvement District. Is there a motion in a second?
Isn't that what we just did?
No, we did the Otis II. Now we just have just Otis.
Oh, another Otis.
Another Otis.
Little
James,
nepotism here.
James L. Otis.
So moved.
Second, Lamika Covington.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, we have an appointment tonight for Lynn Kinney to be appointed to the library board. That is a mayoral's appointment. I am appointing Lynn Kinney to the library board. We have an appointment for Johnny Little to the Ferguson Special Business District. Is there a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second, Naquita Noah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. At this time, we don't have any requests. We don't have a proclamation. We don't have a resolution. We just move, at this time, we have bill number 7314, and we have our prosecuting attorney here, Kristen Roberts, and the court secretary. Would you come up for the bill? Yeah. Introduce your secretary, please.
It's my legal secretary, Viva James.
Hello.
She is a great asset to our office and has helped me throughout my time working with her. Good evening, Mayor Jones. Good evening, members of the council. My name is Christian Roberts. I am the prosecuting attorney here in the city of Ferguson. I've been in this position for a little over 3 years. I am also an assistant prosecuting attorney in St. Louis County, and I've been in that position for over 8 years. I'm here to discuss the proposed miscellaneous health and safety offenses ordinance that would in its proposed form fall under section 29-3. I believe you have all received a draft of the ordinance as in its current form. As you may know, there are similar ordinances that have been implemented in other municipalities here in St. Louis County. The reason why my office is in support of this ordinance is because it gives us more latitude in resolving cases. This would further allow for the consequences of the matters that we deal with to better reflect our community standards. At the state level, we have and utilize alternative courts, diversion programs, restorative justice programs in certain inappropriate situations. In terms of implementation, this ordinance would be used only when disposing of cases and in which all stakeholders involved consent to this amendment to the original charge. So I just want to emphasize that this would not be implemented or issued in its as the initial charge. It would be a charge that would only use at the disposition stage of a case. So it's not, the goal of this is not to expand the criminal code here in the city of Ferguson, but just to kind of give us more tools to use at the disposition stage. As I mentioned, like the alternative programs that we have, alternative courts and diversion programs that we have at the county level, it allows us to kind of work with defendants in our cases, the victims, anybody else who's involved, to kind of come to a resolution that might end up for better outcomes for everybody involved. We have cases in which unhoused individuals or young individuals make mistakes, and implementing some of the fines or penalties that are available to us for a given charge can detrimentally affect them in the long run. So the goal of this, like I said, is to just give us more tools to use just to help out members of our community and kind of help them not only when they're dealing with us, but going forward after they leave our courtroom.
Councilman Kassoff.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. There are decades of case law uh, about unconstitutional vagueness. And the courts have been very clear that a law must be specific enough so that a reasonable person would know what is prohibited or required of them. This law is as vague as it can possibly be. And other than the fact that we have assurance from you that it's being used only for plea bargaining, the fact is it's an ordinance on the books in our city, and in theory could be enforced against anybody for just about anything. It's been my observation in other jurisdictions that when a prosecutor wants to go light on somebody for whatever reason, a speeding ticket may become a littering offense for $25 fine. I look at CaseNet, and you often see people who have $150 parking tickets. And if you look at the original ticket, it was a speeding violation, and presumably you or somebody in your office pleaded that down. Why, in light of the fact that you have the ability to plead down to other laws that don't put unconstitutional vagueness into our city statutes, do we need this law?
Great, I understand that question. I appreciate that. In terms of the language in the proposed ordinance, I wasn't responsible for the drafting of that. I can speak to the city attorney who worked on the drafting of it in terms of its vagueness. In terms of the reasoning for why we want an ordinance like this, if you look at section, I believe it's 1-15 that kind of talks about overall penalties in the statute, there's specific charges that fall under certain fine penalties. Which can be either $500 or, depending on the specific penalty, or excuse me, the specific charge, maybe less in terms of the maximum amount. Or in situations where it's up to $1,000, there's potentially up to 90 days confinement that's available. So this would primarily be used in two circumstances. One, in traffic cases in which an individual has a violation that falls under a minor traffic violation. And under the state statute, that would mean basically any traffic charge that's when applied would have 4 points assessed against the individual or less. And there's some circumstances in which obviously people in the city, in our community in Ferguson, come from a range of different social economic backgrounds, and to penalize them with points on their license can detrimentally affect them in the long term in terms of costs versus a one-off fine, for example, in regards to kind of amending it down, legal parking or something. And our proposed use of it in that regard is in situations where they may be, it might fall under a minor traffic offense, but there's other circumstances that might affect how we view that case based on either their driving record or the specific circumstance in that case, where we might want to assess fine higher than what we can under the current statute, which would be $300 for those minor traffic offenses. So this would allow us to essentially amend to the health and safety offense, but allow us to charge a higher fine in that circumstance. Again, it's always case by case. In circumstances in which I can give you an example, property damage was mentioned earlier. We had a case, I think it was a year or two ago, which an individual in a spat with his ex-girlfriend became infuriated and slashed her tire. This individual, he was young, had no criminal history, he had a good job in working for the city government in St. Louis City. And based on a mistake, had this property damage charge that would have affected his opportunities in terms of his career going forward. So by amending it to a health and safety offense, from my understanding, kind of talking to people, this on his record would appear differently than a property damage charge or maybe an assault charge or something like that. Again, that would only be in situations where all stakeholders.
But you could have amended it to littering.
The fine amount and kind of our ability or what we could do at sentencing.
Okay, so the purpose here is to allow us to charge a higher fine.
Not always, and for the property damage, that would be a different circumstance, as I mentioned in that example.
I just remain, so for those of you out there who haven't seen the law that's proposed, it says, it shall be unlawful for any person to engage in any conduct which constitutes a threat to public health, safety, quiet enjoyment of property, or general welfare. To me, spitting on the sidewalk you could give somebody a ticket for spitting on the sidewalk. I just feel like this is a very vague law that you may only want to use it for a certain thing, but it opens up the opportunity for the kind of abusive prosecutions that we're already trying to avoid here in Ferguson. So I'm very concerned about it. And that's all I've got to say.
Councilman Franklin, then Councilman Palmer.
Yeah, so this is one of the actually one of the few things me and Councilman Kassoff agree on. I don't like the language the quiet enjoyment, of property. That could mean if I'm in my backyard having family over, playing music loud, and my neighbor doesn't like the level of the music, I technically, by the way the ordinance reads, I've committed a crime or a finable offense. So I'll tell you, I really couldn't support the bill the way it's written because I don't know. Do you know how we define quiet enjoyment of property?
I'd have to look at the definition in terms of either in the code or in the state statute.
Well, it's.
Okay.
It's not just noise. It's any.
Councilman Palmer.
My question here would be maybe directed more towards the city administration. Has the Department of Justice reviewed this and heard this explanation? That is, we're under.
My knowledge, Your Honor.
Are you familiar with, we're under a federally mandated consent decree?
Would it violate the consent
Are
decree?
you familiar that we're under a consent decree for traffic, for a variety of things? One of those things was using our courts as a revenue source.
Yes.
This seems kind of counter to that to
I think
me.
it's a question of implementation.
Okay, can you explain for me? Can you give me an example of that then?
So I would say if somebody had some traffic violation or some other violation, and the goal of it would be to extract funds from them was the primary concern, then that would fall under, I guess, what you're getting at. But if the goal is, like I said, restorative justice, something more community-based, we're trying to help all parties involved, it might be viewed differently.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Williams.
For individuals, minor children under 18, what type of diversion programs do you guys have?
For minors?
Yes.
Typically, we rely on the family courts for those circumstances.
You mean you outsource it to the county?
Let me clarify. It's here in Ferguson, we work with everybody in the community, juveniles, adults. Typically what we've seen in terms of juveniles, it's driving without a license or without a proper license. And so we work with them in those regards as well. We don't have a formal diversion program. That's what you're asking us. It's always on a case-by-case basis.
Well, I would like to see a diversion program and you guys hooking up with Flow Valley and making these individuals get some type of trade, plumbing, electrical, and it's mandatory. And so that diversion program will give them a skill so they won't repeat the offense again. And secondly, I see what you're trying to do with the bill that you're introducing, but it's vague. You passed the bar. I think you should work with the attorney or put it in your language and bring it back to us. And I think I would be willing to vote for it if it's in your language. It's hard to defend something that someone else wrote.
I understand.
Councilwoman Covington.
That was what I was gonna say that David mentioned. Can we reword this and bring it back?
I'd be open to that, Councilman.
Is it the consensus of the council to have our prosecuting attorney to simplify the language enough where it will be readable, acceptable before we go to the first reading?
Clarify more so.
I think it's more than that. It's not, it's real simple. It's just.
So it is.
It's a, I think all we need to do now is just, well, I'll make a motion to remove it from first reading and then they can come back. We can have a discussion about it. Is that okay? Because we got to get it off the agenda.
Okay, that means we got a lot of stuff we moving on first reading. Okay, put the motion on the floor.
I move to remove Bill 7314 from the first reading this evening.
I second
On
when we
what
could cut.
grounds, on what grounds?
On the grounds that I believe it's unconstitutionally vague and I would like for our legal department to do additional work on this bill.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second when you could cut.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. So prosecuting attorney, Roberts, could you please work with the attorney and come back?
Yes, I'll speak with the city attorney and come up with a better draft of this.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jameson. Appreciate you too.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we move to, we took Bill 7316, 17, 18, and 19. They are also to come back later. We move to bills requiring second reading. Bill number 7315. I'm requesting a motion and a second to read the bill a second time and place it upon its passage.
So moved.
Second, Naquita Noah.
Attorney Ryan, could you please read the bill?
An ordinance of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, affirming its method of disclosing potential conflicts of interest and substantially.
City manager?
Yes. Mayor and council, this we do every year, and this is just a formality.
That it is. Any other questions? Hear none. Clerk Pittman, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Cassoff,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Franklin,
Abstain.
Councilman Palmer,
Aye.
Councilman Williams,
Aye.
Councilman Noah,
Aye.
Councilwoman Pleasanton.
Aye.
Bill number 7315 passage. We move to any unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Councilwoman Noah.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so so for clarity, this is regarding the $330,000 that was earmarked to FNIP from the 25-26 budget. I just want to ask the attorney, is it legal to appropriate that money to FNIP since they changed their bylaws?
Could you say your question one more time, Councilman?
Is it legal to appropriate the money, the taxpayer funds, to FNIP since they changed their bylaws and they're their own entity? During the budget session, the council voted to approve $330,000 from EDST funding to Ferguson Neighborhood Improvement Program.
I want to take a look specifically at the question to see if it would violate any specific ordinances. I'm not aware, but that doesn't mean to play.
Okay. Just want clarity on that because there's been a lot of questions.
Attorney Ryan, let me answer that question for you. The FNIP bylaws were sent to Apollo. Apollo did a blue line through the bylaws. He sent them back to council. We have not had an opportunity to look at the bylaws. I was going to refer them over to the work session. So that's where we're going to have the discussion. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other unfinished business? We have several other bylaws, like the library bylaws, that need to go over to a work session. Any other unfinished business? Councilman Williams.
The removal people on boards, can that be done now with the motion, or are you gonna handle that later?
I've got some more work to do. I'll handle that later.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? We move to new business. I sent out an email asking the council if we could take September the 9th. And instead of having a meeting, we will use that as a work session time. There's quite a few economic development sales tax programs that we need to discuss. Then we have the daycare information that needs to be discussed. We have more than a FNIP bylaws that we need to look at. So do we want to take September the 9th and use it as a work session? That'll give us 2 weeks, just in case we come up with anything to move to the September, what's the second meeting?
23rd.
The September 23rd, where staff can do their work, we can do our work and move it after the work session, or anything come up that needs to be in the ordinance. We have it in September the 23rd. Will that work? I would like to make a motion that instead of September the 9th being a regular meeting, we take September the 9th as a work session to look at EDST programs, the bylaws of any board and commission, the daycares. City manager, you have anything else?
No, just.
Okay. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. We move to September the 9th as a work session. New business, what? We want it to start at 6 o'clock? Okay, we'll start at 6 o'clock. We'll start at 6 o'clock. We've been having a conversation on emails about a removal of a person from the boards and the commission. I'm gonna grant you this, Councilman Franklin, that I did have conversations with Councilman Williams. I did not have a conversation with Erica Williams. I'm asking Erica Williams. Erica Brooks, I'm sorry, Erica Brooks, to call my office, set up appointment time for us to talk. You sit on the board, you sit on planning and zoning, and we need to have a conversation. Call my office to set up appointment time for a conversation. In the meantime, City Clerk, would you get in contact with the mediation people? Point of order. Point of order. Would you get in contact with the mediation person so we could coordinate this meeting? It's been brought to my attention that the mayor should have a meeting with any board or commission member that has had any inappropriate behavior. And you and I need to meet. So just call my office, set up a time, we call mediation, so they will be there in the midst of the conversation. And I'll bring the findings back to the council for them to make a ruling. Okay, thank you. Any other new business? We move to miscellaneous, new business closed. We move to miscellaneous, starting with Councilwoman Covington.
Thank you for you all coming out. Thank you for all your comments. Like I say, I always listen. Thank you for all the invites to the different meetings. I think I missed one, but I try to attend whenever somebody send me our invite to show up at a board or commission meeting. and have a good week.
Thank you, Councilwoman Covington. Councilman, Franklin.
I don't have much tonight, but I just want to thank the community for coming out, and I want you to know that I'm gonna always advocate for the people, you know, even if it's not appreciated by all parties. That's what I'm here for. This seat belongs to you, so I'm gonna keep doing the work in Ward 2 and throughout the city. Thank you.
Councilwoman Noah.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have quite a bit because at the last meeting, I didn't get to say my miscellaneous, and everyone knows that I like to speak during miscellaneous. So thank you, Mayor. First, let's go back to the 4th of July. Thank you.
We don't have to go that way far back.
For my miscellaneous, we do. Thank you to all the organizers, the contributors, all the Ferguson staff, the parade participants, and the watchers. The Ferguson 4th of July parade and the fireworks event was very well organized and planned. We appreciate your effort and look forward to the next 4th of July parade and spectacular event in one of Ferguson's premier parks, January Wabash. And also another congratulations to the Ferguson Fire Department on their 120th anniversary. The Forestwood neighborhood meeting will be the first Tuesday of August on the first Tuesday in September. It will not be on Zoom. It will be in person at Emmaus Bible Chapel, 900 Highmont at Hornet. The Nesbitt Newton meeting will be tomorrow, Wednesday, the 27th in Nesbitt Newton Park at 6 o'clock. Please bring a lawn chair. Hopefully our FPD can show up to report. Forestwood Park. There has been some concerns about Forestwood Park, and I do want to thank staff for meeting and addressing those concerns. The trees have been trimmed. There's a sign, a men's sign on the bathroom door. The residents are looking forward to the park being painted. And, you know, when the weather changes, I know right now that's not going to happen. But thank you all for addressing that in a timely manner. Congratulations to the Ferguson Fire and Police Department on their softball win against Berkeley Fire and Police. Hopefully you all will play that game again, not against Berkeley, but against someone else, because you already beat them, so we don't want to play them again. Okay, all right. Kudos to the entire Ferguson staff and our PIO consent decree coordinator, Ms. Patricia Washington, Lisa Stevens, and the Lisa Stevens, who is the FPD trainer, on their progress towards compliance and completion of the consent decree. And, you know, the city has worked very hard to promote a positive perception of Ferguson post 2014. The city of Ferguson has made a remarkable comeback and forward progression in our police department and business community, to name some among other strides throughout the city of Ferguson and the administration. As an elected official, I don't condone bullying residents or business owners. The residents are why we are sitting in these positions. We are here to serve and represent. Yes, I support Ferguson businesses, and I also support respecting citizens' First Amendment rights. If we continue to remain silent, that means that we're guilty of being complacent. History does matter. And yes, elected officials are held to a higher standard. And I do appreciate Councilman Williams apologizing, because I asked him to do that. And I do appreciate that, because there's nothing wrong with apologizing. Okay, lastly, public comment needs to remain where it is on the agenda, because many residents come just for the public comment and they leave. They don't want to stay through the entire council meeting, and we shouldn't force them to do that, because again, we are here for the residents. You know, if it wasn't for the residents, then what would be our purpose of sitting in these seats? You know, so I just think we need to stay grounded in why we are here. There's a lot going on the federal level, and it's flowing down. And just understand why we are in these positions. Taxpayers fund this city. Octavia, thank you for your service to Ferguson, and good luck to you. Today is Women's Equality Day. And just one last thing, I don't know if it's true what the resident said, but I would like to hear more about that $6 million grant for the trees. Okay, thank you all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Noah. Councilman Palmer.
I don't have anything this evening.
Councilman Cassoff.
I yield my time to Counselor Noah.
Thank you. Councilman Williams.
All right. So what was it, about 2 months ago? The whole FNIP thing. The lawyer had looked over at that time and he said it was nothing wrong. And we wanted oversight that we could look over their books at any time. We voted for it unanimously. I don't know why we're going back on that. So, I mean, everybody on this council have used the FNIP except for Palmer. It's a good program. And so my neighbor, the one that passed away, I was talking to his wife the other day because she had some dead trees in her property and they're about to hit my house and my pool. And I said, have you heard of FNIP? She said, yeah, I use them for my driveway. I, had no idea. And then the neighbor beside me, her wooden fence is falling down. And she was like, yeah, I'm gonna get FNIP to help me fix my fence. So, I think it's a good program. We already had the lawyers look over it and we unanimously agreed on it. I don't know why we're going back on that. My last comment, the only board I'm on is the Ferguson Youth Initiative. And when I first got elected, my email did not work for months, weeks at a time. So I never got in contact with the Ferguson Youth Initiative guy. So I think it was fixed maybe about April or May. And I contacted him. I said, this is my personal email. This is my personal phone number. This is passionate to me. He never contacted me back. So I went to a neighborhood association, and it was a young lady who was a representative of Ferguson Youth Initiative. And I went to her and I said, hey, I contacted him. He hasn't contacted me back. She was like, oh, he's busy, but let me get your information. Again, gave her my personal email and cell phone number. Haven't heard anything back. So I'm realizing they don't want to work with me because I might have a different political affiliation than them. The whole reason I ran for council is to have a seat at the table, to give the voiceless a voice and the underserved the opportunity. That's why I went from a lot of money at Boeing to childcare. But I'm realizing I don't have to be on a banner or flag. I can do it myself. So starting not this Saturday, but next Saturday, I'm going to be at the community center tutoring the youth from 8 to 10, K through 12, and even college courses. It doesn't matter if it's calculus, biology, chemistry, whatever. Bring your child to get tutoring. Also, I've been talking to people, citizens. I don't want to mention their names. I don't know if they want me to put their names out there. But one citizen said, I want to do a jobs program to teach people how to dress, how to interview for opportunities. I had another citizen, hey, I want to teach people credit, first-time home buyers, things of that nature. So it takes a village. And I don't have to be under one flag to help underserved people look like me to get ahead. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday, I plan on meeting at the community center for 2 hours. Bring your child. If they're having hardships in school, it doesn't matter what subject it is, I'll tutor them for free. And don't just bring them for 2 hours to get them out of your hair and I'm a babysitter. But if they really need help in a subject, it does not matter the subject. I was a computer science tutor in college. So, the subject is not too big for me. I can do it. It was something that, yes, sir. 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm still trying to work out the room situation, but 8 to 10 every Saturday. My wife is like, you're trying to save the world. What about time for me? But it's bigger than her, it's bigger than me. And, if you want to volunteer your time to help tutor some of these children or just be a mentor, like I had Mr. Jerome, who's a Air Force veteran, come to my daycare and speak to the kids. You can't be what you can't see. College is not for everybody, you know. Trades, electrical, plumb, they make more than doctors. But my generation, you need to go to college, you need to go, that's not necessarily the case. Mr. Jerome, I'm pretty sure his checks look really, really good from the Air Force. That's another outlet for these kids to be in. So it takes a village. If you want to come and volunteer your time. So that's what I want to do, because I don't go on Facebook anymore because it's toxic. But one lady was like, he said he's going to work with kids. I haven't seen him do anything. In some regards, she's right. But that's not because I haven't been trying. The people that have these established organizations that deal with kids, I guess they get grant money. They want to keep it to themselves, but that's not what I'm about as far as the money. I really want to help these young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Dave Musgrave?
I just wanted to publicly thank Octavia for her service and let her know that she'll be missed. That's all.
City Manager?
Again, Octavia, you will definitely be missed. Your smile, definitely. So, but also, I just want to also let you know that Ferguson Fire Department did respond yesterday to the explosion. So
What did they determine?
So the cause, I believe, is still under investigation unless it came out today that
No,
I
it
don't
didn't.
know. But Ferguson was a big part of it. And actually, we put some of our command staff in other fire districts to help run mutual aid. I ran the city and allowed mutual aid companies that were moved up to our area that don't know our area. Basically, almost the entire county fire departments were up in this location, whether it was an ambulance strike team for heavy rescue, or a strike team for ladders and or pumpers. So we're very organized, and we know how to run a scene. So yesterday went very well. It was a bad scene, but our training kicks in. So that's all I have.
Thank you, City Manager. Attorney Ryan?
I'll just echo the previous, video.
Okay. Okay.
So I want to thank Dr. Fields and Dr. Lamers. They did the right thing by letting my son retest, and he did pass the verbal IQ and the written test. And so a lot of times, if our kids are given an opportunity, they will excel. And so by the time he is in the 12th grade, he'll be taking AP Calculus. So they gave him the pre-exam to see where he's at. He scored 100. And so, like I said, he is autistic, but he's very smart. But these young people need opportunities to excel. That's it. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Just before I close out, to the council, Octavia is leaving. We love you. We're gonna miss her. However, I've got 2 appointments I would like to make. Levine, London. Lavetta, I call you your sister, okay, Lavetta, London. I would like to appoint her to deputy clerk. What is your favorite, council?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. London, you are now our deputy clerk. The second appointment is to appoint David Musgrave as interim clerk.
Interim. Temporary.
Interim clerk, what is your pleasure?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we have a deputy clerk. As you know, Ms. London has been sitting there with Octavia, and she expressed that she wanted to learn more. And we're happy to have you to want to learn more. So, and to Octavia of 22 years of clerk, 25, I'm sorry, 25, 8.5 of those years here in Ferguson. We are going to miss you. And we thank you for all the service And we are cooking up something for you, but I just don't want you to know right now. And I would just like to say, I don't know if you noticed as you've been going in the gas stations, you've been seeing the video slot machines and people playing those slot machines. We've getting an increased number of kids going to play those machines. So that's where I was at this evening with
Playing
the,
slot machines?
with the Missouri Municipal League working on a policy that we could bring to Jeff City about those video slot machines. Also working on a policy for Senate Bill 5 and the juveniles, because right now when a juvenile has committed a crime, only thing that police can do if they don't get points, they could get 12 points. And if they do a felony, they will get those 12 points. But if they steal a car or break into somebody's house, they go to the police station. The judge doesn't give them a point. The police have to release them to their parents. And half of the time, the police have to drive that kid home. So we are drafting a policy to make some changes in that juvenile system. So if you have time as a council member, on September the 14th, the Missouri Municipal League Annual Conference will be held across the river. Do come and sit in the classes where all these policies are going to be brought up, and hopefully we could get them through to Jeff City. In addition to that, I just hope July 22nd has been put to rest and we can move on and do the business of this city. At this time, I'm requesting a motion in a second.
So
to
moved.
adjourn. All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. Have a good night.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
We already on the news.